Lamborghini is the epitome of glitz, glamour, and extreme performance. Everything that led to its existence was anything but. It's a story of humble beginnings, traumatic experiences, and numerous dismissals that define the Lamborghini we're familiar with today. I think you'll find this story just as fascinating as I did. Keep watching and see what you never knew about Lamborghini. The date was April 28, 1916. A boy named Ferruccio Lamborghini was born in Ranazzo, Italy, the son of two grape farmers. As Ferruccio grew up, he was an avid believer in his zodiac sign. During childhood, his passions for mechanics and technology were budding. Ferruccio found himself further interested in farming machinery, rather than the farming lifestyle. Later, he went on to university to study technology in Bologna. His dreams were momentarily put on pause as World War II broke out. To Ferruccio, it seemed brutal, but being drafted into the Italian Royal Air Force was a defining time in his life. He was stationed on the Greek island of Rhodes. Any vehicle needing repairs on this quiet, isolated island had to be fixed with reworked parts. Ferruccio proved himself to be rather serviceable at this, even at one point being likened to a wizard of sorts. Life went on until the Germans rumbled in, taking control of the island. Word of Ferruccio's prowess spread rapidly, prompting the Germans to grant him permission for working on military vehicles once again. I guess the Germans just can't say no to a pair of highly skilled hands. Ferruccio understood this was a unique opportunity he had working with leading class tools and machines from Italian and foreign industries. I get the feeling these dangerous encounters were also the most defining experiences for Ferruccio. These were equivalents of a masterclass. He worked on Italian, German, and British vehicles, leaving the war with technical advantages. Now Ferruccio had freedom to return to a recovering Italy. Knowing Italy must rebuild itself, he made clear plans for his future and had skill set to exploit the incredible opportunities of the time. He settled in the region of Emilia-Romagna. Swept up in post-war euphoria, Ferruccio entered his modified Fiat in the 1948 Mille Miglia. His participation abruptly ended after crashing into the side of a restaurant. This event cooled his enthusiasm for motor racing severely. A determined Ferruccio recovered and started on his machinery ambitions. He knew the agricultural power Italy once was. He envisioned the new opportunities for making and selling tractors to a country lifting itself from the depths of war. Using military connections, he purchased discarded Morris engines, which he was already familiar with. Ferruccio made clever alterations to these and introduced his powerful and economical Cariho tractor to the market in 1948. Ferruccio's vision was successful. Farmers admired the tractors and loved that they were running on cheap diesel fuel. He began expanding production after receiving positive feedback. In 1950, Lamborghini had a workforce of 30 people, producing a total of 200 tractors annually. His first real company is born in 1951, Trattori Lamborghini. This is the first time in Ferruccio's life when he starts moving from manufacturer to full-blown industrialist. Ferruccio showed a high level of cleverness by exploiting friendly state policies. He continued showing his knack for being one step ahead. In 1952, the Italian government issues the Fanfani Law, guaranteeing loans to farmers who purchase domestic machinery. Ferruccio latches onto this scheme rapidly by obtaining a license from MWM. He now produces his diesel tractors 100% domestically. Ferruccio is able to sell considerable numbers of superior tractors to farmers flush with cash. His insights have now produced multiple successes and spurred the company towards further innovation. Trattori Lamborghini now has 400 employees with a yearly output of 11,000 tractors. This all makes Ferruccio Lamborghini popular and an extremely wealthy man. I can't help my feelings of awe for this man. His clever knack for improvising was impressive. He earned himself the title of preferred mechanic for the Nazis. That's better than dying, right? And had the vision to alter his Cariho tractors to run on diesel when petrol prices were too prohibitive. Ferruccio knew how to spot a worthwhile opportunity. As he became seriously rich. His hobby of gifting himself luxurious cars grew. He owned several Oscars, Maseratis, Jaguars, and Ferraris. But being a high-standard man, Ferruccio was growing frustrated with the Ferrari's excessive noisiness and clunky clutch. He was tired of wasting hours in maintenance. He asked his engineering team to find technical solutions for it. He was enraged when learning he was paying 1,000 lira for the same 10 lira clutch used in his tractors. Ferruccio paid a visit to Enzo Ferrari at his factory nearby. When they met, Enzo Ferrari was outraged that a simpleton who built tractors strode into his factory giving lessons on Ferraris. Enzo impatiently dismissed him, telling Ferruccio, "You're a tractor driver, you're a farmer. You shouldn't complain driving my cars because they're the best cars in the world." Ferruccio returned home confident his solutions would work. The competitor inside Ferruccio badly wanted to put Enzo on notice. At this time, he focused on making the best sports car available. He felt determined that Ferrari could do nothing better than he could. He energetically schemed about his own vehicle. This sports car would be housing a massive V12 engine. He started by hiring the ultra-skilled engineer Paolo Dallara, who previously worked for Ferrari. By the early 60s, Ferruccio built up a likable fortune and saw this as his perfect opportunity to finally build a car the world will celebrate. Many of his associates thought that he'd lost it. Assembling this type of car was seen as childish competition that'd soon swallow his fortune whole. Nevertheless, being a badass determined man, he began working on his project late in 1962. Ferruccio forged Automobili Lamborghini, building an ultra-modern factory in Sant'Agata in 1963. The logo of the company featured his zodiac sign, and their cars' names would draw inspiration from famous bulls. Ferruccio was well prepared from the previous experiences of building Trattori Lamborghini. He set up superb, functional operations, constantly monitoring production, and even doing hands-on work when he saw fit. Lamborghini worked feverishly and by 1963 debuted the 350 GTV at the Turin Auto Show. You all want to know the best part? What no one knew at the time, as well as most people today? The model featured at the show couldn't even fit their promised V12 engine. The hood wasn't built high enough to accommodate all that horsepower. But no one knew why. Lamborghini cleverly fixed the hood down with a pile of bricks during the show. Fake it till you make it, right? Regardless, the 350 GTV generated massive interest as people couldn't stop discussing the car's modern lines. Ferruccio made his presence felt. The following year, Lamborghini used the public's sense of fascination to sell over 130 of the newly produced 350 GTs. The company would experience uninterrupted global growth over the next 9 years. During these 9 years, Lamborghini produced the F1-inspired Miura, first of its kind with a transversely mounted engine. In plain English, this means the engine mounts directly behind the seats, not in front of them. Then in 1973, they shocked everyone with the world-famous Countach, aka that sports car on the poster you had growing up. It's true. And look, it's difficult to understand the influence this car had on everyone at the time. This being Lamborghini's first time debuting their signature swing-up doors with the unique rear-mounted air intakes. These aggressively styled cars amazed even Ferrari and Maserati, leaving them to contemplate the future of their own cars. Automobili Lamborghini has been credited for forever influencing supercar designs. Up until this day, numerous car designs base their styles off the earlier Lamborghinis. Even today, I consider this car a head-turner, but I really want to know your thoughts. Is the Countach your favorite Lamborghini, or another one of these Lambos? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to see which model gets the most comments. At this point in the story, Lamborghini cannot fathom the bad circumstances coming their way. In 1973, the company started feeling the pressure. The economic outlook was darkening as a recession and oil embargo struck most countries harshly. Sales of high-end sports cars were especially affected. Making matters worse, Trattori Lamborghini was dealing with a wave of union protest, restricting their ability to cut cost. The company received a vast order for tractors destined for Bolivia. As the company started modernizing its factory to meet production, a successful coup was underway by Hugo Banzar. He swiftly canceled the order after assuming power. Lamborghini was now fetching tiny portions of their usual income, while stuck with their higher labor cost. Ferruccio quickly sold his entire stake in Trattori to rival tractor maker Same. He then began fleshing out options for selling automobili, negotiating with friend and wealthy Swiss businessman Jorge Henry Rossetti on a 51% stake of the company. This effectively ended Ferruccio's control over the company he founded. As the oil embargo clamped further down on a growing economy, consumers preferred vehicles that fetched superb fuel ratings. In 1974, Ferruccio was growing dispirited with the outlook for his car business. He cut all involvement with the cars that famously bore his name. He sold his 49% stake to Irene Leimer. Ferruccio exited the business world, returning to his roots in farming and making wines. He could only look on now. I'm left feeling bummed out for Ferruccio, but it only seems right that an extreme set of circumstances could remove this extraordinary man from his perch. Life after Ferruccio was anything but stable for Lamborghini. Investors hesitated with money, and the company was investing too much in an off-road vehicle, hoping it'd sell well. It didn't. Lamborghini also agreed with BMW to build a series of sports cars. But later BMW opted out, and this was the blow that sent Lamborghini into bankruptcy. Later, the company successfully emerged and sold for $3 million to the Memran brothers. The car enthusiasts did so well at turning the company around that private investment could support it no more. In 1987, Chrysler agreed to buy Lamborghini. Funding was increased, and by 1990, the Diablo replaced the Countach. This represented a change in circumstances. Now, the company was operating in the black for the first time in years. But luck wouldn't be in the cards for long. A worldwide economic crisis was sweeping over the automobile industry. Chrysler, being short on its own money, sold Lamborghini in 1994 to a Malaysian and Indonesian investment group directly tied to the well-known Indonesian dictator, Suharto. By 1993, Ferruccio had passed away, and surely you can imagine the misery he felt seeing his prized company endure so many hardships. Certainly he wondered if they'd survive. As 1998 approached, Asia was enduring a financial crisis. Indonesia was specifically hit hard. The iron grip rule Suharto exercised for 3 decades was showing cracks. Dissatisfaction grew, causing a flight of foreign capital from the country. The Indonesian rupiah fell from 2,600 per dollar to 14,800. Paying Lamborghini loans, denominated in dollars, were extremely difficult at this moment. But another lucky turn in Lamborghini's history appeared. Volkswagen came to the rescue and purchased the company outright in 1998. This couldn't have come at a better time. Lamborghini was now surrounded with ample funds and support. Let's wish this is the final hiccup in ownership for this fascinating Italian car company. It's a testament that these people are capable of upholding the high standard and passionate values of their founder. If Ferruccio saw his company now, he'd be showing off that charismatic smirk of his. So that wraps up our story on Lamborghini. As always, any thoughts or reactions you have, I'd love to see in the comments down below. And hey, if you liked the video on these behind the business projects, show us some love with a like. Make sure you subscribe, click that bell to turn on notifications. With that being said, this is business as usual. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you in the next episode.